Hello everyone. Today we are going to give you 4 nice wee facts about Princes Street Gardens. How are you all? Hope you're all happy and healthy and well out there. Yes, the big jacket is back on. It's the 1st of April here, and we've been down at like 0 degrees and -1 and -2 in snow randomly because that's what happens. Anyway, hope you're well. Yeah, we're here in Princes Street Gardens just because it's a nice day. It's a beautiful place to sit and chill if you're in the area. And I know a lot of you like it when you have random facts that you can tell the people you're with and they can go, "How do you know that?" And you're like, "Oh, my pal Tony told me." And then there you go. And then all of them are all very impressed. So yeah, so 4 random facts about Princes Street Gardens, apart from the fact that, you know, you've got that view right there. I don't think that's a random fact. I think everyone knows that. And I'm not going to say that it was a loch, that it was the Nor Loch. I'm not going to tell you that. That's not a fact we're going to say today. You don't need to know that originally there was a stream that used to go all the way through, and they decided to block up that stream, and eventually that became the Nor Loch, and then they drained the Nor Loch when they moved, and they developed the new town from the old town, and you don't need to know all that. I'm not going to tell you that. In fact, forget I even said it. But we are going to talk about 4 little random facts, and the first one's going to link to what I just told you, and is that it was going to have a canal. Not quite sure how that would have worked, but it was going to have a canal through it at one point, and that plan kind of got scuppered a little bit because there was, I mean, I can imagine that original stream that I spoke about that was here originally, that then got blocked up, that then let this all fill up to become the Nor Loch. That stream must still be somewhere. You know, the origins of it, where it sprouted from. I don't know if it got redirected, I don't know if it naturally dried up, I don't know. But it must be somewhere, or at least the spring of it must be somewhere. And yeah, so then we're going to turn it into a bit of a canal here. I don't know if that would have continued. I don't know if the canal would have went off through the West End and out towards somewhere. I just don't know. But that whole plan kind of got a little bit scuppered because of the mound. Now, if you don't know what the mound is, it's a street. It's a street that joins Princes Street, New Town, to the Old Town. Cuts right up the middle, cuts Princes Street Gardens in 2. But that was a mistake. That was a mistake. It wasn't meant to happen. And that's also why it's called the mound. So you get an extra little fact here as well. If you didn't know this, I'm sure I must have said this at some point on a video. But anyway, oh, I'm rambling. Oh, I haven't done this for a while. I'm on a roll. I'm talking. Well, I get on with it. Okay, right. The mound was created because when the new town, when Princes Street and the buildings were starting to happen, and they were digging out all of the land and all these sort of things, they just started to chuck all the rubble and whatever mud and offcuts, I don't know, everything just started to get chucked in that area where the mound is, and then it became a mound of stuff, a mound of rubble, which I suppose it essentially settled down and became quite solid, and the technology didn't exist at the time to, I suppose, I'm kind of half guessing, but most of the technology didn't really exist to now get rid of this enormous mound of rubble that they'd created. So Princes Street Gardens, since there used to be one long thing from one end of Princes Street Gardens to the other, one end of Princes Street to the other was the Nor Loch, then became 2 separate gardens. So because that had happened, and now you had, and then they went, well, that's actually a handy street that joins the top of the Royal, or near the top of the Royal Mile down to the new town. Well, that's actually quite handy. And the guy's going, "What about my canal? I wanted to make a canal." And they're like, "No, sorry, no canal anymore." So there you go, fact number 1. It was supposed to have a canal, and that got ruined by the mound. You can't help but just get, I mean, the sun, you see, if you just get it, it's like the sun. Oh, look at that. Isn't that great? Isn't that just beautiful? Just love it. Just love it. I'm also not going to tell you about how it was used as a test and a punishment for people who were accused of witchcraft, and they'd be brought down here and they'd be thrown in either in a barrel or with their thumbs and toes tied together, and if they floated, that meant that the devil had saved them and they were a witch. So I'm not going to tell you that. I'm not going to tell you that used to happen in this area, and it was also the main drinking source of water for everyone in the old town, and it was also the most used area for sewage and everything like that. And so all the water that people were drinking was all the same water that they were killing people in, and all the same water that they were pooing and peeing in. I'm not going to tell you that. I'm not going to tell you that. But I am going to tell you that it was actually private at one point when it was first built. You have to remember that when Princes Street Gardens and the new town was made, Princes Street wasn't a shopping street. It wasn't a thoroughfare for shops and things like that. It was residence. It was posh residence. You know, it was the George Street. It was all these fancy, lovely big houses, and people would be buying these lovely houses, and then they'd have a beautiful view of Edinburgh Castle, and then they'd have these private gardens where they'd be able to come in, and the riffraff were not allowed. So it was very posh of me, wasn't it? So and there's very few of those original buildings left. Very few, actually. They've all been kind of changed into these. Well, let's be honest, some of them are ugly, some of them are okay. There's a hair in my face, and believe it or not, there's something in my eye. It feels like a hair, but no jokes, no jokes. But yeah, it was a private garden, and you couldn't come in here. You weren't allowed to come in. Only the residents of Princes Street had keys to come in and use these private gardens. The only time that the public were allowed to come in to this area was Christmas Day and New Year's Day. Was the only days it would be open to the public, to stop people from going to illegal pubs. Why that would stop people from going to illegal pubs, I don't know, but that's the only day that the general public were allowed into Princes Street Gardens, and that was like 1876 that it eventually got open to the public. So truthfully, not a massive amount of time ago, but then the new town's only like 200 something years old, so it got about 100 years worth of being private before it became open to the public, and it is now, you know, incredibly well used. It's a Friday early afternoon right now. It's about 12 o'clock right now, back at 12, so people come down here from offices and shops and things, and they'll come down and they'll enjoy their lunch if they've got a nice lunch hour, or obviously people just visiting. It's great to sit here and enjoy the castle, but there would be a time where, unless you lived on Princes Street, you ain't coming in here. And while we're talking about buildings being built in the new town and the beautiful gardens and the view of the castle, it should also be said, and this is fact number 3, that it's illegal to build on this part of Princes Street. Not allowed. And this was fought for by the people of Edinburgh, because there are buildings on this side of the street. There's the National Gallery there, obviously there's a Scott Monument, there's the Balmoral Hotel, which I suppose you could kind of count, and there's Waverley Shopping Centre, or the mall, Waverley Mall, just the other side of the Scott Monument. But that's it. That's all the buildings on this side of the street, and that's all the buildings that will ever be on this side of the street, because there's an Act of Parliament making it illegal for any buildings to be built on this side of the street to keep that view, to keep that beautiful view. And it's also why none of the buildings kind of there. And there might be another law. Maybe another law that says that buildings are only allowed to be so high, this sort of thing. Again, to prevent that view being obstructed and being ruined. And this was fought for by the people of Edinburgh. This was, I don't have an exact date, but it was fought for and protested by the people of Edinburgh to say, we want to keep this beautiful garden, we want to keep this beautiful view for all time. We never want it to be obstructed, we never want it to be ruined. And by an Act of Parliament, it is now illegal for any buildings to be built on the south side of Princes Street, on Princes Street Gardens, so that will always remain a beautiful view. Got the Ross Bandstand here, which is supposed to be getting knocked down and changed and rebuilt. There was a competition a few years ago to design the new Ross Bandstand, and a new winner was selected. So a new winner was selected, and so there is a design for a new Ross Bandstand here, but I'm guessing COVID slowed all that down, so I have no idea when they're actually going to do it, because, you know, you get the concerts in the gardens here and the fireworks at New Year looking up towards the castle and everything, so I don't know when it's going to happen, but I'm assuming it's going to happen at some point. And last, but by no means least, of the 4 facts and no more facts that I'm giving you, because I don't care what I say, I'm not telling you any extra facts and just sneaking them in any way. The famous floral clock, which I'm heading towards right now, which is just at the very east end of the second section of, well, I suppose what way you're coming from, the east end, the very east end of the west end section of Princes Street Gardens. Does that make sense? So beside the west end side, the Edinburgh Castle side of Princes Street Gardens, but by the mound, right at the start by the mound, there is a floral clock. And it is a functioning, or at least it was, I think it still is, a functioning clock, floral clock. And it is the oldest floral clock in the world of its time. It started in 1903, which it was, forgive me, I can't remember the people's names, but it was the brainchild of the head groundkeeper and a clockmaker. You see how that worked? The two of them were sitting there one day and he went, "I love flowers." And the other guy went, "I love clocks." And they looked at each other and went, "We should make a flower clock." And the other one went, "We should make a clock flower." And they went, "Flower clock will be easier." So they built a flower clock. And it's still there. It was a big part of my childhood. I don't know why it was a big part of my childhood, but when my dad had me in the area to always want to go and see the flower clock, because I don't know if it works anymore, but there was a cuckoo. There's a little house and there's a cuckoo, and on the hour it used to cuckoo used to come out. I don't know if it still does. I hope it does. I'm kind of here at the wrong time of day to see if that happens, so if anyone is ever in the area and you know you happen to see it, please do let me know. But let's have a quick look at the oldest flower clock of its kind. Well, here's an anticlimax. If there was never an anticlimax, they haven't planted this year's clock yet. Look, this is where it goes. There's the bit that the hands go on, and there's the cuckoo, but the clock hasn't been planted yet. Well, if that ain't the biggest anticlimax to one of my videos that we've ever had. But what can you do? What can you do? You can all come and see it when it has been planted for this year, because it looks like the ground is being made ready, and I'm guessing it'll be here fairly soon. But it is here. If you're ever fancy coming to see it, there's the mound right there. There's Princes Street, and this is where the clock normally is. Ah well. Well, there you have it. 4 wee facts about Princes Street Gardens, and not a single fact more, and all of that went exactly to plan. What can you do, eh? What can you do? They will be there. It looks like the ground's getting ready for this one, for this year's clock to be planted. They usually have a theme, or at least some sort of thing like that. I know that a few years ago, 10 years ago, when it was the 100th anniversary of Edinburgh Zoo, their botanic section came, and it was all themed to that. So yeah, they're usually themed and looks lovely. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed that today. If you have, please remember, leave a like, leave a comment. If you know any other cool facts, I could maybe do another one. And of course, subscribe if you haven't already. It would be wonderful to have you as a wee member of Clan Broonford. Just a wee heads up, you'll probably notice in a little while the channel's going to change its name. That's all. That's all. Nothing else is changing, just the name. The name doesn't seem quite right anymore, because it started off as, you know, me and Kirsten just sharing silly memories, and it's developed into something else. So the name doesn't quite fit anymore, but it's not going to change that much. We're actually just going to change it to Clan Broonford to include all of you as well, who are all subscribers. So we can really say it's your channel. Everyone that subscribes is a member of Clan Broonford. So you'll probably notice that in the next little while. Not sure when. We're just getting a new logo and things designed. Isn't that cool? That's cool, isn't it? Yeah. So yeah, I hope that won't change your mind and go, no, I don't like Clan Broonford. I like it when it was the Broonfords. So I hope you'll still, stick with it. It won't confuse any of you. But keep an eye out for that, for when that happens. I'm not sure when that's going to happen, but it's going to happen soon. As soon as the logo's all finished, I would imagine. But yeah, don't remember to subscribe. Come join Clan Broonford. Until next time. Bye, humans.